Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're going to take something you probably haven't thought too deeply about since, well, kindergarten, and we're going to transform it into a highly sophisticated, super practical adult skill set. I mean, we interact with color every single waking second of our lives, yet very few of us actually know how to use it deliberately. So, let's dive right into this and completely upgrade your visual operating system from the ground up.
Right off the bat, this feels a bit like a glitch, right? But it is absolutely true. That apple sitting on your desk, it's not actually red. In fact, nothing around you physically possesses any color at all. Color is not a physical property of objects in the universe. It is literally a biological illusion, a construct that's created entirely inside your brain.
Section 1. The biological lie. The science of color.
So let's look at the microscopic reality of how we actually perceive light. It comes down to a pretty simple formula. Color equals the light spectrum plus reflection plus your brain's processing. Think about it like this. When sunlight hits a strawberry, the surface of that fruit absorbs every single wavelength of light except for red. It bounces that specific red wavelength directly back into your eyes. So technically, the strawberry is everything but red. And inside your retina, you've got these microscopic cellular teams called rods and cones. Rods, they handle your night vision, light, dark, and motion. But your cones, those are your color engines. Most humans have 3 types of cones tuned specifically to red, green, and blue wavelengths. Your brain takes all those electrical signals, mixes them together, and renders the millions of colors you're seeing right at this very moment.
Now, I've got a quick pop quiz for your visual acuity. If you mix blue and yellow paint, you get green, right? We all know that. But what happens when you mix blue and yellow light on a digital screen? Take a second, mentally lock in your guess. Got it? Okay. If you mix blue and yellow light, you get white. This fundamental difference between physical paint and digital light is going to perfectly bridge us right into the actual mechanics of color.
Section 2. Decoding Color DNA. The color wheel.
To really rebuild our understanding of color relationships, we need to notice how this all builds using the rule of 3. We start out with our primary colors, right? Red, yellow, and blue. These are the pure building blocks. You literally cannot create them by mixing anything else. Step 2, we mix those together to get our secondary colors, orange, green, and purple. But step 3, well, this is where adult color theory really begins. By mixing a primary with a secondary color, we get tertiary colors, things like teal, amber, or magenta. Simply expanding your visual vocabulary beyond the basic names completely changes how you see the world. You stop just seeing green, and you actually start identifying emerald, olive, mint, sage, and forest green. Just having that awareness instantly elevates your taste.
Now, every single color you will ever see possesses 6 core DNA traits. The hue is just its identity name, like red. Saturation is the purity, so a highly saturated color is like a glowing neon sign, whereas low saturation is more like a muted vintage brick. Value is simply how light or dark it is, which is what creates depth and shadow. But the modifiers? That is where the magic happens. Tinting is when you add white. It makes red become pink, very soft and youthful. Shading is adding black, so red becomes maroon, strong, luxurious, formal. Toning is adding gray, making red become a muted rose, relaxing, sophisticated, and timeless. Just by tweaking these sliders, you completely shift a color's entire emotional weight.
Section 3. Designing with Color Harmonies. Design Mathematics.
Have you ever wondered why professional interior designs look so incredibly effortless, while our own DIY attempts at home often just end up feeling cluttered or chaotic? Well, the answer is math, specifically the golden 60-30-10 rule. This is a literal secret formula used by professionals to balance colors in a room, an outfit, or even on a presentation slide. Basically, 60% of your space should be a dominant neutral. Think of your walls or your main background. 30% is your secondary color, like your furniture or secondary design elements. And just 10% is your bold accent, throw pillows, or maybe a bright call to action button on a website. Sticking to this strict ratio prevents visual fatigue and guarantees that high-end, balanced look.
But how do you actually pick those colors to begin with? By using proven harmonies, which is honestly just simple geometry on the color wheel. Complementary colors are direct opposites, like red and green or blue and orange. They create maximum, high-energy contrast, which is exactly why they're so perfect for sports logos. Analogous colors are neighbors on the wheel, like blue, blue-green, and green. Because they share wavelengths, they create this deeply natural, calming harmony. And monochromatic uses just a single hue, where you only vary the tints and shades. It's sleek, minimalist, and for the most part, practically fail-proof.
Section 4. Subconscious Color Psychology. Subconscious Control.
Okay, prepare for a bit of a thrilling revelation here, because corporate giants use these specific colors to subtly manipulate our daily decisions. You are literally being influenced before you even read a single word. Look at red. It triggers urgency, excitement, even appetite and higher heart rates, which is exactly why clearance sales and fast food chains use it constantly. Blue, on the other hand, signals trust, security, and calm, which is why practically every major bank, hospital, and tech giant like LinkedIn or Facebook dominates in blue. Green naturally communicates health, nature, and financial prosperity. Gold expresses prestige and luxury. But, and this is a big but, context is absolutely crucial here. Never forget culture. In Western cultures, white represents purity and weddings, but in several Eastern traditions, white is actually the color of mourning and remembrance. So if you're communicating globally, cultural color nuance is everything.
Section 5. Digital light versus physical ink. Screen to print. If you've ever experienced that totally frustrating nightmare of creating a vibrant, gorgeous digital graphic on your laptop only to print it out and have it look completely dull and muddy, well, here is exactly why that happens. Digital screens speak RGB, red, green, and blue. This is an additive model. Your phone is literally shooting light beams, and when you add them all together at 100%, you get pure white. But printers? They speak CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, which just means black. This is a subtractive model. Physical ink layers onto paper and absorbs the light. If you mix all of those together, you get dark brown or black. Because paper physically cannot emit light, those bright neon screen colors simply cannot be printed with standard ink.
So, to maintain total control over these digital palettes, creators use specific coding languages. Hex codes are those little 6-digit combinations you might have seen around, like hashtag FF0000 for pure red. They give web developers absolute, pinpoint accuracy. Then there's HSL, which stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. It's a much more intuitive system that lets you easily tweak the brightness or intensity of a color without ever losing that core hue.
Section 6. Real-World Color Masterclass. Fix your aesthetics.
All right, we've covered the science and the psychology. Now I really want to empower you to apply this at a macro level. To immediately fix your personal aesthetics, you want to avoid these top 5 beginner traps. Trap 1. Using way too much saturation. You can fix this by picking just one dominant color and pairing it with muted tones. Trap 2. Ignoring lighting changes. You got to remember, colors morph under fluorescent light versus natural sunlight, so always check a paint swatch in the real environment. Trap 3. Poor contrast. Light gray text on a white background completely kills readability. Always prioritize high contrast. Trap 4. Unintentionally mixing warm and cool tones, which just creates this subconscious visual friction. And Trap 5. Forgetting the room's purpose. Don't just paint a room your favorite color, deliberately pick a color that matches the function and the energy you want for that specific space.
Section 7. The 3-Day Color Awareness Challenge. Color Awareness.
Now, learning color shouldn't just be about memorizing theoretical definitions, right? I want to invite you to turn this into a daily, actionable habit of visual observation through a quick micro-challenge. Day 1, pick one color family, let's say greens or blues, and actively count how many distinct shades you can spot on your commute. Day 2, become a design detective. Try to identify that 60-30-10 rule out in the wild, maybe in your favorite restaurant or on a really well-designed website. Day 3, build your own 3-color palette using one dominant tone, one accent, and one neutral. You are honestly going to be amazed at how quickly your eye adapts to this.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a direct question so you can evaluate your own environment based on everything we've just covered. What color is your bedroom right now? And does it actually feel relaxing or energetic? I really want you to think about the hue, the saturation, and the psychology behind it. Keep observing the colorful world around you. Use these tools to design your space and your life with absolute intention. Thank you so much for exploring with me.